everyone. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and your week has started really well. I'd like to say hello to the viewers, and I was pleasantly surprised when I looked at the different countries of people who have tuned in to this channel. They're spread out, and wonderfully diverse. So let's see if I can get the hellos in some of those languages. So, привет, 안녕하세요, namaste, hello, konnichiwa. What else? Of course, hello. I think that hola. And yes, I think, because some of the in some of the countries, the hello also sounds like hello. So hello, or yes, and hola, of course. But yes, wonderful to have you all tuning in. I'm not sure if you were able to listen to the earlier sessions, the earlier chapters of the book, but you can listen to whichever chapter you want to listen to. It's up to you, but it's just great to have you all on board. So we are in chapter 4, and that chapter is Inside Out. It focuses on the 2 albums, Wings and You Never Walk Alone. And we were going through each of the members' solo tracks. And this is the very first album where each member could showcase not only their skills, but also really express what they feel deep inside, emotions that normally probably they would be hesitant to reveal publicly, especially in their music. The ones who have been very transparent have been Namjoon, Sugar, and well, this was circa 2016, so Obi had not put out his mixtape yet. So yes, Wings was the opportunity for all the members to be a bit more vulnerable, which probably scared them a lot to put it out there in their lyrics. I mean, they are very open and transparent with ARMY, in their vlogs. They, even early on before they debuted, they already would share when things were tough. But it's a different thing when it's in music, and that's just going to be recorded and it's all there for the public to hear. Okay, so we're moving to J-Hope's solo track, and we were talking about Mama. The lyrics: time travel 2006, that year, crazy about dancing, Mom had to tighten the belt. Like the other solo tracks on Wings, Mama looked back on J-Hope's dancing and his relationship with his mother, telling the story of his journey. But in the context of Wings as a whole, Mama also pointed to the roots of a person who had reached maturity. J-Hope explains, at the time, both me and the company thought this was what I had to talk about now. It was a time when it was really necessary. J-Hope's decision to discuss his mother was connected to BTS's circumstances at the time. He continues, this team called BTS was starting to get a bit of international attention. So I began searching for one of the reasons I made it this far. I endured thanks to my family, and of my family, my mom helped me so much. So I wanted to talk about her. It was something I could only express at that point in time, that only the me of that time could express. J-Hope's musings on his family and their role as a starting point, which connected to his role as a member of BTS, reflected the journey of BTS as a whole. But at the same time, Mama was a turning point in Wings, shifting the album from the members' fears and worries to an optimistic and cheerful tone, going from the darkness and confusion of Intro Boy Meets Evil to the upbeat reminiscence of Mama. J-Hope created a ray of hope in the melancholic vibe of the album. In the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour, which took place after the release of Wings, Mama injected a dose of upbeat energy, signaling a transition to a more lighthearted vibe. J-Hope explains, I wanted to make it feel like a musical. It's a story about my mother, and as for the performance, I wanted it to be pure and let the dance express the music. I had to show it off at live concerts. But when I made the song, there was an aspect where I took performance into a lot of consideration. While the solo tracks allowed each BTS member to deeply explore their personal perspectives, they also played important roles as pieces of a larger whole. Jin's solo track, Awake, was the track that most clearly showed what function it was intended to serve as part of a bigger picture and as a personal message. Just going back to J-Hope and his song Mama, I can't even imagine how his mom must have felt, hearing that song for the very first time, and how J-Hope loves her so much. The song, if you read the lyrics, and it's just beautiful. And in the lyrics, he says that, Mom, you work so hard. Let me now, your son, take care of you. Okay? Like, I got you. Like, the wish of every mother, of their children. Now, Jin solo, Awake. Awake is another song that just hits you, and just, it's just, it's a very emotive song. And the instrumentation of that song is brilliant. It's the type of, and it is an orchestral arrangement because in one of the live videos, right, that when Jin performed it, you had violins, yeah, throughout the song. So that's a very beautiful song. It makes me think of like can be a movie theme, you know? So as a sort of epilogue to the 7 solo tracks, Awake began with a serene orchestra prelude that brought together the flow of the varied solo tracks that came before. The lyrics, I'm just walking and walking in this darkness, were a summation of the obstacles the members faced and overcame in their individual solo tracks during the production of Wings. At the same time, Awake was a personal prologue for Jin, heralding a new stage in his life. As with the other members, production on the album overlapped with his personal struggles. The song Awake fit my circumstances at the time perfectly. To be honest, I was a little depressed at the time. It was a time when I wondered, can I really do this work well? All the other worries I had before vanished, so I was agonizing over new things at that point. I don't believe in it. I'm just trying to hold on. The only thing I can do is this. Those are the lyrics from Awake. Jin confesses, I had to do a little better, but I did not have the ability. But I still wanted to do something. That's what it was like at the time. Looking at the other members made me envious. They could write melodies, and they could also write lyrics. Oh, Jin. Jin's worries were partly due to his circumstances. He had not yet made his own music, and suddenly getting into composition was no easy task. Until that point, I had not actually seen the other members compose music. It's embarrassing for one. Sorry about that. Oh, okay, that was short. Where was I? Okay, until that point, I had not actually seen the other members compose music. It is embarrassing for one another, you know. When you want to record with a beat playing, you have to be loud, too. The other members often say that they can't produce anything if they try to work in the open. Awake represents the radically different circumstances BTS faced after the most beautiful moment in life series and the equally different anxieties they faced. As they attained a measure of commercial success, Jin's concerns shifted to his own creative role in the team. As if on cue, circumstances soon improved. That was when I composed the music for the first time. It was an empty room too, so I ended up giving it a shot. Jin began by putting a melody to a beat. I don't know how other people work, but I was told to start by listening to a beat and then singing the melody I wanted. So I followed that advice. It was this process that gave rise to Awake. Jin looks back. The entire second floor of the Changgu building was repurposed as composition studios, and I sat blankly in my room with the beat I received playing in the background and humming along. That day, We had plans to eat out, and this melody that emerged 10 minutes before we left made me feel, huh? This doesn't sound bad. So I recorded it on my phone and played it back later for RM and the composer Hyung. They told me it was alright. Though Jin was filled with trepidation at first, the positive response gave him confidence. He recalls, the composer Hyung did bring in a different chorus melody, but this was my first solo track, and I'd built up confidence, so I persuaded a lot of people, starting with P-Dog, and ended up going with my melody. I convinced them by saying, I'd feel amazing if I could sing the melody I made, and if it's not a seriously horrible melody, I really want to use it. Oh, go, Jin. Good on him. Once the melody for Awake was set in stone, Jin went about experimenting. It was this uncertain process that led up to the lyrics, his heartfelt reflections on this time. I was writing the lyrics based on what came from my discussions about the theme of my solo track with Bang Shi-yuk. Then I asked RM for help. I showed him what I'd been writing and said, I want lyrics that feel like this, that don't try and dance around the point. Through his work on the solo track, Jin eventually reached a point where he genuinely felt awake. His eyes were opened. I kept practicing for 1 or 2 hours a day on my own in the practice studio so I could sing Awake. Then I sang it while we were on tour, and the song improved a lot. Oh, that's an understatement. Song is a masterpiece, a magnum opus. Finally, in the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour, Jin sang his solo piece live for adoring fans and was overcome with a completely new emotion. On the first day of the concert, it felt amazing when I sang Awake. It was my first time singing my own melody, and it was my first solo song. It was like I went up on stage and I'd prepared it all myself. That was when I understood how the other members felt. How good it feels when you sing your own creation in front of an audience. Jin's experiences too reflected the journey of BTS as a whole throughout the production of Wings. Each member faced his own struggles and in the process learned more about himself. This passage from Damien encapsulates this period in their career. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must first destroy a world. Let go. Another level. Bang Shi-yuk was fond of the phrase another level, which he used to describe BTS to friends before the team's debut, to describe amazing BTS performances, and to describe the future direction of the team. Though it was not clear how he foresaw that this new idol group from a tiny management company would rise to another level, such explosive success probably went beyond what Bang had initially expected, as BTS's incredible showing in the years following their debut would only have been predicted by a bona fide prophet. But what was clear was that Bang expected Wings to indeed take BTS to another level because nothing else could explain what he did in the lead up to the album's release. As the BTS members began preparation for Wings, Big Hit Entertainment also got to work on the Wings concept book, a publication that would chronicle the making of process for the album. Published in June 2017, this book contained heartfelt, genuine reflections on the members' emotions as they prepared for the album, as well as a record of the entire production process, from the initial planning stages to the sole performance of the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour. The book even contained photographs of all the outfits worn by the members. This was a risky venture by K-pop industry standards, especially because the album Wings had not even been released when work on the book began. It would be much more cost-effective for an entertainment company to simply block off a few days from the artist's schedule to shoot an ordinary photo book. There was no good reason for a company to plan and publish a large, thick book, complete with slipcase that covered half a year's worth of a K-pop idol group's schedule from album production to tour. The same went for the YouTube documentary series Burn the Stage, planned alongside the Wings concept book and uploaded on YouTube the following year. This is just forward-thinking and brilliant. Footnote: Burn the Stage was released in March 2018 as a series of 8 documentary episodes on YouTube, which were later compiled into the feature Burn the Stage, the movie, including previously unreleased footage, which premiered simultaneously in more than 70 countries in November of the same year. The Burn the Stage series was followed by similar documentary and feature series that covered BTS's tours and other major musical activities, including Bring the Soul in 2019, Break the Silence in 2020, and BTS Monuments Beyond a Star, which we will see soon. This is 2023, that's the one scheduled on December 20th. That's in a couple of days, right? Oh no, tomorrow. Oh, okay. Oh no. Day after tomorrow. Okay. Big Hit Entertainment followed BTS's international tour closely, capturing every aspect of their work on camera. The documentary made no attempt to hide the members collapsing in exhaustion or being embroiled in disagreements with one another about their performance. This was yet another departure from K-pop idol industry norms, where member chemistry, meaning closeness between members in this context, was considered a crucial element of success by both fans and management companies. why invest so much time and money into showing artists going through difficulties and conflicts with one another? As it turned out, there was a method to Big Hit's supposed madness. The release of the Wings album was followed by the publication of the Wings concept book, which coincided with the production on the documentary series and feature. It was at this point that the name BTS came to take on an additional meaning on top of Bulletproof Boy Scouts beyond the scene. This new brand identity for both BTS and ARMY was unveiled on July 5, 2017, making the team's name easier to remember for both Korean and international fans and expanding the scope the team could cover. I'm curious about that. I may be out of touch because I really am not very much into, social media or anything like that. But is the name Beyond the Scene really, is it being used? Because everything or everywhere or all the materials that I'm aware of, or I read and watch and all that, it's either just BTS or Bangtan Sonyeondan. And I don't even know if BTS themselves say Beyond the Scene. They always go Bangtan, Bangtan Sonyeondan. So, or they just say BTS. I don't know. I think Bangtan Sonyeondan is, the original name. I think it's much better. Because Beyond the Scene doesn't have doesn't have character. So yeah. Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Anyway, okay. It was a marketing strategy. This was the future Big Hit Entertainment had in mind for BTS, an international sensation that anyone on the planet would recognize. Artists whose work was worth the effort to chronicle into large, thick books sold in slip cases. BTS skyrocketed in popularity globally following the Most Beautiful Moment in Life series. But passionate fan engagement and responses on Twitter and YouTube would not necessarily lead to tangible success. Korean idols had already carved out an international niche, which continued to expand on YouTube. But these successes were largely limited to the Asian market, with K-pop forays into other locals largely failing to garner mainstream attention. This is true. Big Hit Entertainment, however, moved as if aware that the Bulletproof Boy Scouts would soon be called upon at international music awards under the name BTS. Blood, Sweat and Tears was clear evidence of the company's foresight, containing elements that appealed to both established BTS fans and completely new audiences. As with Dope in The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1, Blood, Sweat and Tears opened with the highlight of the song to grab the listener's attention from the outset and made use of the international trend of the Moombaton beat. The vocals, however, struck a marked contrast. The members maintained the delicacy of Jimin's opening solo throughout the track, their voices highlighted by tasteful mixing and reverb that lent a darker tone to the song. The beat seemed to coax excitement, but the performers on stage seemed to quaver in temptation. Blood, Sweat, and Tears offered something for every listener, from longtime ARMY enraptured by BTS's trademark darkness and dynamism to South American listeners who had never heard of BTS. When he realized that all these factors were encapsulated by the word temptation, Bang Shiyuk thought of everything that made up Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Just as BTS found success and stepped into a new world, a young person stepping into the world of adulthood was faced with countless new choices, many of which were temptations that would pull them away from their goals. The depiction of the confusion between pain and pleasure and casting it as temptation was the final piece of the puzzle that perfected Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So we shall stop there. Fascinating, isn't it? Just learn new things at every reading. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope to see you all again, or I hope that you will tune in once again for the next reading session. So until then, I wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, and enjoy the documentary, the upcoming BTS documentary on DisneyPlus. And yes, have just a wonderful week ahead. Until then, this is Beyond 1800 with BTS.